Yo, what up? Welcome to another episode of the Oakland Warriors podcast. I'm Patrick, flying solo. First, I have to just make one quick announcement. I started an Oakland Warriors Discord. I've had throughout the season, a lot of really good, thoughtful basketball conversations with people on YouTube in particular, where we'll write like paragraphs back and forth to each other. And so I wanted to create a place where, a lot of that stuff can just be consolidated, because sometimes with every episode and every game, it's like there's these conversations, and then with the next game, there's the next episode, and those just kind of disappear into the archives and whatnot. So if you're interested, the link will be in the YouTube show notes below, and it'll also be in the podcast show notes if you listen on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. So join in. It's early times, but it's a good place to have a pretty chill conversation about the Warriors, especially during games. And also, I want to give a shout out to Diok. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, but Diok Kim, who supported the show a few times financially on YouTube. I very much appreciate that. And that's something I don't talk about very often. And I very much appreciate that you do that out there. I don't know you personally, but I appreciate you and everyone else who has watched, listened, and told their friends about the show. So thank you very much. You are awesome. Okay, so to the matter at hand, the Warriors have tied the first round series with the Sacramento Kings 2-2. They've held serve at home, and now it is the best of three, with game 5 in Sacramento, game 6 in San Francisco, and then game 7, if necessary, in Sacramento as well. I said after the last game, game 3, where the Warriors blew out the Kings, I said that, hey, the Kings are going to be ready, because they knew they just needed one game to pretty much, potentially end this series and go up 3-1. And you knew that they weren't going to just lie down and let the Warriors run all over them again. Mike Brown wasn't going to let it happen. These guys are too good. And the Warriors, Steve Kerr, he went with Draymond coming off the bench. It was Draymond's idea to come off the bench. If it wasn't Draymond's idea, I don't necessarily think Kerr would have chosen to do that. So instead of Draymond in the starting lineup, it was Steph, Clay, and then Jordan Poole, and then Andrew Wiggins and Kevon Looney. And I'll be honest, it didn't work out as well as it did in game 3. But a lot of that was because the Warriors, they did not come out with that same sense of urgency and desperation that they had in game 3. In game 3, it was like all hands on deck. Everybody just, played with energy and played with focus and played with intention. And, it was a whole team effort. In this one, they weren't great on defense. They were not chasing loose balls. And I was like, okay, again, this is what we've seen from this team all season, where it's like inconsistent, right? They'll have like a good game, and then all of a sudden the next one, they'll honestly half-ass it. And not saying it was half effort, but it definitely wasn't one of those games where it was like, okay, we have to have this. It was like, all right, we're just going to walk in and win this game. And for a while, it looked like this one could be in doubt. And if you need a game to ever prove the axiom that the NBA is a game of runs, it's this one, because it was constantly Warriors run, Kings run, Warriors run, Kings run. And that's what you expect in a playoff series. And that's what made this one so, dang enjoyable. In this one, the Warriors, they had their chances, but they were sloppy. They were turning the ball over, and they were fouling, and they were smoking tons of layups. Like Steph, Clay, Dante DiVincenzo, Kevon Looney, Jordan Poole, Andrew Wiggins, Draymond Green. They all smoked some easy shots. And that to me was like, okay, all right, if we end up losing by a point or two or a couple points, like that's going to come back and haunt them. And they had a lead in the first quarter, but in the final couple minutes, they closed out poorly, and then all of a sudden, the Kings ended up with a lead, a 1 point lead going into the second. And then again, at the end of the second, the Warriors did not close. The end of the third, though, the Warriors finally closed out a quarter well, and they had a 10-point lead. But guess what? As I've said in previous games in this series, Mike Brown and everyone else knows that the Golden State Warriors cough up leads, and the Kings just started off the fourth quarter on a 7-0 run. They put the pressure back on the Warriors, and it was just, back and forth. And then it came down to the final play, the final minutes of this game, where when I was watching this, I was like, oh my God, this is so reminiscent of the first Charlotte Hornets loss, where the Warriors seemed like they were going to just win the game, but then they kicked it away, went to overtime and lost. Or the Detroit Pistons game at home, where they had the lead and they just ended up losing somehow, some way, last second shot, turnover, whatever. And I was like, oh man, this late game execution, end of game awareness, where Malik Monk unnecessarily went on a 1-on-2 fast break. Warriors are up by 5. Monk misses the shot. Steph has the ball. The Warriors have 0 timeouts. 0 timeouts. And he calls a timeout. And so that means they lose the ball. It goes to the Kings. And there's a technical. And then De'Aaron Fox hits a 3-pointer, and all of a sudden the Warriors are only up by 1. So it's a 4-point play right there, pretty much 4-point possession. And Steph comes down, misses a floater, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, okay, great. 10 seconds left. That is a ton of time for this team. De'Aaron Fox, Mr. Clutch Award winner, is coming down the court. And I'm like, no way. This cannot be how it ends. This cannot be it. It cannot be it, because, they cannot just cough up this lead out of nowhere when it looked like they had it in hand and then go down 3-1, right? There's no way it's going to happen. Then there was the other part of me where I was like, well, if that's how it happens, then it is quite fitting that these are the Warriors that do it, because this is what they've been doing all season long. But hey, Fox passes the ball to Harrison Barnes. Harrison Barnes shoots the 3 from the left side and clanks it. I thought it was in. It looked good. But the irony of Harrison Barnes missing a clutch 3-pointer that helps the Warriors win, just, finally he comes through in the clutch for the Warriors, because he missed all those shots and couldn't hit a bucket in the 2016 finals, especially in Game 7. So he's never lived that down. He's a good dude, but I'm glad it was Barnes shooting that and not Fox, because that Fox kid is good. He's just really, really good. I'm really, really impressed by him every time I see him. His mid-range floater, his mid-range step back, his just mid-range shot in general, his mid-range game is stunning. And his ability to get fouls on these Warriors, it was tough. It was tough right there. I mean, when you look at the final stat lines for this game, it's like the teams, it was a 1-point game, and they were very, very, very close. Fouls, 21 for the Kings, 19 for the Warriors. Turnovers, 10 for the Kings, 11 for the Warriors. Rebounds, 44 even. 3-pointers, 14 of 35 for the Kings, 40%. 14 of 34 for the Warriors, 41%. Free throws, the Warriors had a bit of an edge, 22 out of 24, 15 of 18 for the Kings. So, hey, the Warriors sometimes better be lucky than good. They definitely shot themselves in the foot quite a bit in this one, and they escaped. And that's all that really matters. I do like the fact that they were getting to the basket, getting to the line. Jordan Poole, 4 for 5 from the line. Clay, 4 for 4. Steph, 5 for 5. Wiggins, 3 for 4. Draymond Green, 6 for 6. 12 points for Draymond, 10 assists, 7 boards. So that was big. And also, Draymond in the fourth, there was that one play where Wiggins missed a shot and he fell down or he turned it over and he was out of bounds on the baseline. And the Kings, they had a 5-on-4 break. Wiggins was slow getting back into it. He was hustling back, but Draymond, and this is about with 5 minutes left, he picked Sabonis's pocket, and then Wiggins got the ball, and they went down, and Clay got fouled, and he hit both free throws. So, I mean, there were a lot of clutch plays in this one by the Warriors, but whew, man, that was intense. That was intense. I felt good about this one, when the Warriors even were losing their lead at the top of the fourth. I was like, I have a sense that they'll win this one, but those final 10 seconds, that's obviously when I was really, really unsure. I mean, why shoot a three when you're down by one? We know that everybody does that all the time. These are NBA players who can hit those usually with their eyes closed. In-game situations under pressure being defended is different, but I mean, Fox, he could have just gone in to his bread and butter. He could have gone into the mid-range and hit that or gotten a foul. I mean, he'd been doing it all fourth quarter. So I was actually a little bit surprised that they just went for the kind of, bail out, let's shoot a three and try to win it. You know what I mean? You're not even down 2. You're down 1. I get if you're down by 2, you want to maybe just shoot the 3 and then go home because you're on the road instead of trying to force overtime. But you're down 1. That's a tough one right there. But hey, I'll take it. I will 100% take it. Overall, the Warriors top to bottom, they battled. At least their core guys did. Looney, 32 minutes, 4 for 5, 14 boards, 6 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, 8 points. Wiggins, 7 for 12 in 38 minutes, 3 for 4 from the line, like I said, 8 boards, 3 assists, 2 steals, 4 blocks, 18 points. Steph, 43 minutes. We know that the Warriors struggle mightily in the non-Steph minutes. And in this one, Kerr was just like, Steph, you're playing. They could not lose this game. They could not afford to go down 3-1 and head back to Sacramento. So, at every moment, like Kerr was like, you're going in the game, finishing quarters, et cetera, et cetera. But 11 for 22 from the field, 5 for 11 from 3, 5 boards, 4 assists, 1 steal, 32 points. And Clay, 39 minutes, 9 for 15 from the field, 4 of 9 from 3, 4 for 4 from the line, 2 boards, 3 assists, 26 points, plus 22, the highest plus minus on the night. And then, like I said, even Poole, 26 minutes, 8 for 15, 4 assists, 2 boards, 22 points. So the main guys for the Warriors really, really played a ton of minutes, like Looney, 32 minutes, Wiggins, 38, Steph, 43, Clay, 39, Poole, 26, Draymond, 31. The next highest minute total was Dante DiVincenzo with 16 minutes. He played all right, not as impactful as he was in game 3, but hey, Gary Payton II got some minutes late his first minutes late in the second quarter. He did not look like himself. I don't know if his sickness is still kind of bugging him. Hopefully he doesn't get anyone else on the Warriors sick, but he did not look that great out there. Moses Moody got some time in the first half, 5 minutes, 1 for 1 from 3. That was his one shot, 3 points. The rest of his stat line is kind of zeros except for 1 foul. Jonathan Kuminga, he came in. He had some really, really bad minutes, and Steve Kerr decided, nope, that's it. You're not playing the rest of the game. Only 3 minutes, no shots up, 1 board, -8, 0 points. His first possession on offense, he was hesitant with the ball, and he kind of mucked up everything. And so they didn't get a decent look in that one. And then he came down and he instantly got faked out on defense by, I believe it was Fox. It could have been Monk. Could have been one of those guys. And that was it. Like he went right, and Fox or Monk, whoever it was, went the other direction, scored. And it was clear that I was like, okay, that's too many mistakes in a row. He probably had another possession or two at the most, and he got pulled. And that was it. So Kerr's not messing around, right? Like when we say that in the playoffs, benches get shorter, this is exactly why. This is what happens. It was essentially a 6.5-person bench, right? I mean, I guess 16 minutes for DiVincenzo was legit, counts as a legit other dude off the bench. But hey, we'll see. I was hoping that, both Kuminga and Moody would have really, really strong games so that they could keep building up their confidence. So, when they go back to Sac, that they would be playable. I'm sure they'll have their chance in the next game, but the leash will be short. I thought Moody was all right. Kuminga, he has to be better. He has to be able to give them some legit minutes all around. So the Warriors bench, obviously, as I've been talking about, did not play as well. The supporting cast for the Kings, though, they picked it up. Davion Mitchell, 27 minutes, 5 for 8 from the field, 12 points, plays tight defense on Steph. Malik Monk didn't shoot it that well, only 5 for 14. He had 16 points. Even like guys like Alex Len and Trey Lyles played decently at first, but then they kind of faded out as the game went on. Keegan Murray, the rookie, who I believe set the rookie record for threes, 9 for 13 in 33 minutes, 5 for 7 from three, 23 points, 7 boards, 1 assist. That dude was the major difference for them in this one. And again, you expect the supporting cast to play worse on the road and better at home, but that was a little flipped around in this one. But overall, eventually, it was just the Warriors' experience, their shot making, and luck that brought them this one. But I'll take it. It was imperfect, but I'll take it. We talk about it when the season is over, how imperfect this team has been all season long. But as long as they're still alive, let's just keep it going. But like I said, it's a 3-game series now, and all the pressure is on the Kings. All of it, legit, because they have to win. It's the way it was in this game, but flip-flop, right? Like the Warriors had to win because you don't want to go to Sac and potentially lose the series down 3-1. So Sacramento doesn't want to lose and go down 3-2 coming back to Chase Center. That's a tough proposition. So, it's going to be all on them. And hopefully the Warriors get rest. They have Monday, Tuesday off. So hopefully they can rest up, especially Steph, and figure out how to get some contributions from other dudes and, just lock in more. You know what I mean? This was a game where when they lost the lead early on, before the series, I was like, I thought the Kings would win at least a couple. My pick was Warriors in 6, but I thought the Kings would win a couple because some combination of Mike Brown, his coaching, his familiarity with the Warriors, and also the Warriors' tendency to kick games away. And early on, I was like, oh, wow, are they going to kick another one away? You know what I mean? You could say maybe they kicked game 2 away or game 1 away or whatever. It's a combination of Coach Brown and the Warriors falling over themselves. But in this one, I was like, those habits of just not paying attention to detail, the finer points, and having the extra hustle. It looked like they didn't have it early on, but as we've seen, like these playoff games where they're really, really brawling, right? It's like you just go minute by minute, run by run. And, that's what makes playoff basketball so intense because everything counts. When they're not playing with that level of desperation, that urgency, then that's when a still relatively young team like the Kings can catch up, close your lead, and gain confidence and gain belief that, okay, these Warriors are not going to smother us in this one, and we have a chance. And they 100% did have a chance. It was one of their oldest players, maybe their oldest player on the team. I'm not sure who else is on the team, but the oldest player for them on the floor who had the chance, and he clanked it. So Warriors escape with that one.